Hi there, welcome to this video. So this is about Crusader Kings 3, and this is how we can take a Count faction in Iron Man mode and just try and make it last as long as we can. So in this video I'll be showing you kind of how you take that Count, how you create that dynasty and work it all the way through, and we'll encounter things like partition and how that breaks apart your kingdom and how you can avoid that. We'll also be looking at how you can make big gains early on and how you can sort of stave off big invasions coming to you to wipe you out early doors. So this is a video so you can just learn some of the basics and some of the more advanced techniques that are in Crusader Kings 3. So I've been playing Crusader Kings right since the beginning. I got my first set in 2002, 2003, something like that. I was at uni, and I ended up making excuses for why I couldn't go out and see people because I loved the game so much. So I'm quite familiar with all the mechanics. Am I a pro? Probably not, but I've done just about everything there is in the console mode at the moment. So I put forward this video because I see a lot on the forums and that people are just like, this game's dizzying in complexity, like how do I get going? And it is a really complicated game, but that's why I love it. There's nothing simple about it, and if you're not playing it properly, it will catch you out. But also, when you do achieve and you make a king from Count, it just feels so good. So let's start a new game and let's pick something that will present a challenge. I like playing at the beginning, so you can take it all the way through to the end. So let's go. It doesn't really matter which one of these I pick, and we're gonna. Might go Count Udes. No, that's a bit more nuanced. Let's go with something really sandbox and build it all the way back up. Here we go. So let's have a look. So we're going to pick our character. Like the British Isles is always a fun place to start. Let's see. Should we do England? See, the problem with some of these bigger sort of things is, like these bigger duchies, is that you're basically there anyway. A few shrewd moves as Wessex and you can take these out and you're almost there. And once you've consolidated this area here, there's not too much. Alba can grow to be quite massive and can pose a problem, especially since it's tribal. However, if you've got your head switched on, starting as Wessex is easy peasy. So we really, I think in the training mode, it starts you off down here in like Desmond or Ormond or something like that. That's quite fun, and Ireland is a good place for the taking. However, once you've completed Ireland, by the time you've managed to do that, sort of take you 1 or 2 generations, Alba will have grown massive, and you'll find yourself trying to break out of Ireland, and there's not too many places to go. But let's go Wales. So we could start with a single county or single state duchy here, or Gwent. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing any of these wrong. Let's go with this one. So it's got a couple of counties, but it's split between the 2 historic duchies of Gwynedd and what was that? What would that be? Deheubarth. Yeah. So let's go with this one. We're 42 years old, so we're going to start rolling the death dice in 18 years. So when you get to 60, that's generally when lords can die of old age. We've got an heir who's a female, so we've got a bit of work to do. So it's not going to be that's going to be quite a hard start. The only thing going for us is we've got 2 counties, but they're both poor. They're not big. They're just 2 sort of 2 areas to them. What do I mean by that? So if we zoom in real close, you can see there's a delineation in Sir There's 2 areas there to that one. That means you can only ever build 2 things in there. Let's go and see a big beefy one. So a real high earning potential one would be Ile de France, which has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I believe. 4 of which are farmland, and farmland is by far the most economic. You can see these little ridges here around London, so these are farmland as well. So this is the economic heartland of the British Isles. Here, what have we got? Plains and hills. So it's not going to be great. Let's get this rolling and see how we do. So we'll start the video off with how you should start every map. So once we've picked a character, there's going to be a lot to consider. Let's go to game rules, and we're going to enable Iron Man mode because it's literally the only fun way to play the game. If you scum save, if you're beginning, it's fine because you're learning the ropes, okay? But when you get a bit more familiar with it, you want to really challenge yourself. You've got to stick on Iron Man mode, okay? Everything you do is final. So in we go. Well, it's nice to see all my manual saves have been cleared off since the update. Let's call this number 1. Let's get going. Right, do not unpause the game. There's a lot to check out. There's a lot to get going. So let's zoom in. Let's have a good look at it. So we're generating 1.4 money here and 0.8 here. Let's have a quick look at this holding. Right, that's really lucky. We've rolled well. We've got a small harbour from the off, which gives us a little bit of extra currency. Okay, that's a real good bonus for us. Nothing here though, but that's life. We have got, let's have a little look at the stats at the top. Right. So looking up here, we're generating 1.7 gold a month. That's low, it's really bad, but we can get that going. We're generating 0.8 prestige. That's really useful for taking other counties, which we'll be sorting out just in a minute. 2.7 piety. I don't really worry about that unless I'm going to war with heathens. That's not important at the moment. When we get 1,000 of this, which will be in a very long time, then we've got some important decisions to make. Until now, not so much. 731 soldiers is good. It's not, well, we're going to be going to war with people who have about 300, so it gives us a fighting chance. 2 out of 4, that's okay. Alright, so we're rocking and rolling. Let's have a look at our character, have a good look. We've got average stats in all areas. This is okay, we can work with this. Diplomacy. So let's break this down into a beginner's video. So what is diplomacy? That's how strong your sentiment is between other characters and how good you are at influencing others. Martial is directly how many soldiers you can summon and how good you are in battle. It affects, this game is about probability and dice rolls, so the higher this stat, the better your rolls can be. Stewardship, so this is how big your state can be and how much of a sort of economic multiplier is applied to your income at every turn. So if we go up here, look, you'll see, if I click on the money, we can see in our domain, we open the tooltip, it tells us where it's coming from, and we've got an expenses here. I don't think we're getting anything applied for stewardship, but stewardship is a factor. Intrigue is how well you are at double dealing and backstabbing and generally being awful to other people and romancing in certain situations, etc. So that is sort of behind the scenes spy work. I don't tend to rely on that too much, but sometimes getting in a murder just when you need it is absolutely key to solidifying where you need to be. Learning is a good stat. So this is how your county develops in terms of technology. So when we're thinking about soldiers and warfare, and we're thinking about all the buildings we can build, it just unlocks those sooner. So a high stat here is always welcome. It's also good for tutoring your children. So when you are looking for someone, like let's say we've got a kid who's sort of 3-4 years old and is ready to be tutored, it is based on our learning stat and our level of learning ourselves. So we've got a 4-star learning lord here, and that will, I think there's like a modifier for that, and it times that by this to project the outcome of what your child will do. There's also a sort of an RNG to it too, but the higher this and the higher that, the better outcomes you have for tutoring your children. Never ever give a child to somebody who's got 1 or 2 stars. I mean, unless you're absolutely desperate, but never really consider that. You want a high stat for this though. This is the most important of the stats, but you want at least 3 stars before giving a ward over. And then we've got prowess. This is your personal combat skill. So if you get locked in combat or you're dueling or something like that, this is what you're rolling against. Also, lords can challenge you, and I've seen that happen. It's quite rare, but lords can challenge you for your crown, And if that is too low, you are gonna lose. And yeah, this is that. And we've got all the other stats here we've just been through. Yeah. One of the key things is before we click on pause, if we do not have a wife, we need to find a wife. And what are we looking for? Well, let's just get up tooltip. What are we looking for? I'm looking for somebody who can augment my money or augment my marshal. Okay, so I need somebody who's either going to bring in more wealth a turn or bring in a lot more soldiers. So if you think about it, it's not going to add that much more money because we're at 1.7. So even if I get somebody who with an amazing stewardship stat who will add their stewardship to mine, it's not going to be enough to significantly push that. But what I am going to need is soldiers. Soldiers are so important. So let's have a little look, and we're going to order these by Marshall, and I don't want to see anybody who's more than 25. Okay, I don't care if they're not from a great house. I don't care what. Let's have a quick look at these. So this one here is whether they're from a great house. That's a lowborn, so it's a peasant basically. These are some of her traits. Never really checked those out. And this is her culture, and this is her religion. So at 20 years old, we got plenty of kids to kick out. Women tend to go barren around about 40. I've seen some women give birth at 43. I've seen some stop giving birth around 36. But you need to basically make sure that, 25 is really the cut-off. But 20 years old, great martial stat. I might do a bit of shopping, because actually if we just go down a little bit, these stats are overall better on this character. Okay, so I might have a little look around. There might also be a trait I want to involve. And let's be honest, getting a trait involved early and building a strong bloodline is good. So let's have a look and see what... Let's apply some traits, some inheritable traits. Okay. I still want to see it by Marshall. Okay, so I can have a level 15 in Marshall who's 17 and has this perk. This is so inheritable traits are great because it can be passed down through the bloodline. It's a probability thing. It ain't always going to happen, but it's really worth it if you can start solidifying strong heirs. This is what have we got here? So let's have a little click on her and let's see what she's got. So that is it's not telling me. It's the most basic strength stat though. So we have a look here. This one is quick. The candle signifies that she's a bit more intelligent. Sophia here, she's got the bunny symbol. That means she's she'll reproduce quicker. Let's put it that way. She likes a bit of that. Isabella here has got a rose symbol. That is a medium modifier for good looks, which helps in relationships, etc. Have another look, see what we've got here. Elena here has a toad, which means that she's grotesque. So see the red around that one. That is also something you can pass on to your children. So you definitely want to avoid those unless it's a really good alliance you can make, or some of the other stats are incredible. You want to steer away from other ones here. Ethelflade here, yes, she has got the basic, the level 1 sort of good look stat. She's comely, however she's depressed, and we want to avoid that as well because that can be passed down the bloodline. You just have a quick look at these. So here's one which is Catherine, who is gorgeous apparently. Let's just check. No, not really sure she's my type, but horses for courses. Let's go up then and right, it's a toss up. I think I'm gonna go here. Have a quick look, just make double sure. Ooh, interesting. Right, so I might take this one because she's good at martial, she's good at stewardship, decent age. She should be kicking out lots of children with me. And I think if we have another quick look, quite a beefcake, isn't she? I like a bit of that. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, so she's fecund, so she's gonna live long. Not that we really want that, we might decide not. Ah, look, she's great. Yeah, let's go with that. See if she'll go for it. So we're going to select her. Quick point, very key point. So if you've not seen this screen before when you're picking a marriage, a matrilineal marriage is a very important selection, because if you're a female, you will take on your man's dynasty and great house. So if you marry a peasant, your children will become peasants if you're a female. If you're a female and you're from a great house, your house, and you want to carry on your dynasty, you must select matrilineal marriage. Also, if you have any daughters and you're marrying them off, it's always wise to consider a matrilineal marriage, so that that guy that comes into your house, all the children will be your dynasty, and you can gift them titles and nobility, and it's a great way of securing your bloodline if you're a female. But if I'm a guy, like if I click this now, then I'll be taking on her peasantry, so all my children will, yeah, just not be of my house, and why the hell would I want that? So really useful in the right situation. Do I care that I'm losing 100 prestige now and she's gaining 300? Not a jot. That's really going to be something we just don't care about. Using a hook, so we can develop hooks on characters using intrigue or through finding out their dirty secrets. And a hook is basically like, I know this piece of information about you, I'm going to bribe you. And so what we do is we basically can use those black pieces of information to bribe that person into doing a thing. I don't know anything about this person here, so that's greyed out. I can't use that option. However, if I did select that option, then it would improve my probability of accept. So at the moment, she's going to accept that. And if I can actually use my tooltip to hover over and see why she's keen. Yeah. So she's going to accept because Sophia's own marriage. Well, I don't understand what that means. Sophia is marrying up, so she loves the fact that she's a peasant and she's going to marry a count. She thinks I'm awesome as well. Look, she really likes me anyway, so that's helpful. And she's of a decent... Ah, right, so if she's really, really young, you get a negative modifier here because she's like, well, I might get a better offer. But because she's 23 and is getting... I know it sounds awful, she's getting on just that little bit. She's that bit more inclined to be less fussy. Let's put it that way. And don't we all get that way? So let's have a little look. So we'll go send proposal and get that done. Right, so we're ages into this video. All we've done is get married, okay? What we're going to do next is we are going to have a quick look at our realm. While our realm is tiny and we have the prestige to do so, let's go and pass limited crown authority. Okay, what is this? What's this screen all about? Well, this is a... so it goes from 1 to 4, and this is how tightly or loosely your general management of your realm is. So your vassals love loose management of the realm. It allows them to do more, it allows them to fight their own wars, expand their own territory, etc, etc. If you go all the way up to rank 4, that is absolute crown authority. Nothing happens unless the king says so, so your counts and vassals and all the rest of it can't declare war. I don't think they can even... I mean, it's basically they've got to ask permission to breathe. But look, they don't like you. So as soon as you pick that, they get... So everyone's sort of opinion modifier is around 0, unless there's something going on. They're going to start at -30, so they're already not going to like you, because you're pressing them for more troops and you're pressing them for more money. They can't wage any wars. Like, rulers cannot designate their heir. No, sorry, we can designate our heir. And clan government vassals will provide at least 20... Yeah, so it's basically it's forcing them to do more for you, and it's really cutting off what they can do. Whereas right at the other end of the scale, they've got full autonomy to do whatever they like, and they love you for it. Okay, that's not good, because as you'll see later on, and you become more and more powerful, they will expand their territories in ways that you can't control. And as we're going to try and not be broken up on succession, we need to be able to curtail a bit of what they're doing. We also need to revoke their titles if they're being extra naughty, okay, or if they're being rebellious or some such. So look, we're going to pass this, which means that we can revoke it if we need to. Vassals can be retracted, and clan government vassals, yeah, that's not relevant for us. but it does mean that we can change from different succession laws when we want to. The reason we're going to do this now is because the cost of it is super low. As soon as you start becoming bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, that cost just increases and increases. By doing it now, when we've got 450 in the pot, we can get that done early doors. So let's just get that done. Okay. Past that, you can only change laws a few times. Domain screen, rarely use. Vassals, got 0. And succession. So let's not do this now. Let's do this when this becomes critical, when our lord is about to die and our place is going to be broken up. Okay. Let's get across to military. So we've done realm, now military. We don't really need to touch anything here. Our armies, let's have a little look. Wow, we're actually starting off with a men at arms. This must be a new feature. I've never seen us start off with that. Bowmen are always good. I think there's bonuses for bowmen based on being a British culture. Levies and knights. There's nothing really much to do here, but it's good to look and see what exactly is going on. Mercenaries. If you're using mercenaries, you are either struggling. Let me put it this way: if you're using mercenaries, there's probably a decision you made earlier that hasn't quite worked out for you, and so you're having to fall back on these. However, it is important to always keep a little bit of money to one side in case you need to smash out some mercenaries, because 700 soldiers at the right time can be the difference between, victory and defeat. But if you're relying on them too much, like if you're really having to work the mercenaries again and again, you're probably playing a busted flush. And if you think about it, every time you hire a mercenary group, that's a building you're not building, and that building you're building, it makes your empire incrementally better. Okay, so each time you're getting one of these, your playthrough is getting worse because you're not investing in what really matters, which is upscaling your infrastructure. Holy Orders, barely use it, and it's not going to be relevant until late game. Council, very important to sort these guys out before you go unpause. We've not got a spouse yet, but hopefully she's coming soon. This guy, let's have a look here. This guy you can't replace if you're Catholic. Like you're just stuck with, and whatever their learning stat is whatever you've got. We've rolled below average here. At least it's not a 3 or a 2, which I've had before. And then just make sure you've got your aces in your places. So the most important one when you're starting out is going to be your marshal, because you're going to need to do battle, you're going to need to expand, and you're going to need to be a duke as quickly as you can. So let's just make sure we've not got anything better in this position. And we do. Or no, we can recruit this to court. Might not be worthwhile. It's not that big an increase. No, it's not that big an increase. But what I do have here is this one who is my steward. Okay, there's some work to do here. So we're going to swap this one because it's a 10. Okay, we'll swap that in. He's already my steward. Look, over there, look, you can see that Guerstan is already over there doing the money stuff. However, look at my Chancellor. He's got a 19. So we're straight away, we're going to swap that in. Yeah, swap that in. And then I'm going to get this, and I'm going to swap that in. So my two most important places, I've got the 2 highest stats. I'm not going to be using my Spy Master barely at all. So let's just see if I can increase my diplomacy at all. No, because, well, yeah, my Spy Master has a better stat there. But it might... no, I'm not going to tinker with that. Aces in the places. So because we know we're going to need to be going to war, with every single troop is going to count. We get our marshal in there. The steward, next most important. See, look, it's already gone up to 1.8 instead of 1.7 in the money. If you look at the top left corner, better than nothing. All right, I know it's nothing, but it's slightly better. Moving along now. Court, we're not going to really touch on this screen too much. Intrigue, yeah, we don't know anything. We're not scheming anything. Factions, very important to keep an eye on this, although not at the moment because I have no vassals. But as soon as you start getting vassals, this needs to be carefully monitored. On sort of 6-month basis. Decisions, a key screen. Okay, if we need to boost any particular stat, we can pay money to do it. So calling a hunt will get you prestige. Okay, there's a small chance of other stuff happening. You might get ill, you might die, but it's always in your hands. So if you need some quick prestige, there you go. Hosting a feast, brilliant decision. If you've just taken over as king, get those feasts rolling. Roll those feasts out, because feasts builds relationships between your vassals. The next one is go on a pilgrimage. If you need piety for a special holy war or something like that, fine. Expedite schemes is whereby you can put additional power and shorten the duration of some of your schemes that are active. Small chance it might get discovered. Invite knights. If you've got a low number of knights, this is what you can do. You don't need to be doing that. Right, let's go back to our council screen, because we need to make sure these are doing the things we want them to do. Okay, let's have a quick look. So the bishop needs to be fabricating a claim. If we've just got one area here, what we need to do is we need to branch out, and we need to make sure we're getting more land ASAP. Because our brethren either side of us are Catholics as well, the only way we can really do that quickly is by sending our bishop out on a naughty mission to say that this actually belongs to us, mate. Yeah, it'll take about a year, 2 years to convince and to establish a claim, but eventually you'll form such a strong claim that you'll be able to go, yeah, sorry mate, that actually belongs to me. And what we're going to do is we're going to take Diffed, or Dyfed. I'm really sorry if you're Welsh at home, but that's, yeah, apologies for my pronunciation. And what we'll do is we'll try and make this into an area. Why are we going to do that? Is because being a count sucks, and we need to level up. So we want to become an emperor of the whole British Isles. But the only way we can do that is if we work through and become a count. So we're a count, and then we become a duke, and then we become a king. Okay, so let's see how we're going to do that. We have a look at the duke map. So these are the duchies. All right. We want the Bath. That's where we want. What are our options? What are our options? So we are a double county. Okay, but we're split across Gwynedd. Poise, is that, I think that's it. Yeah, Poise is an option. That only requires 2 counties. Okay, but if we go and have a quick look at the realm again, it is well within the powerful Duchy of Gwynedd, who has already got these 2. What will eventually happen is partition will mean that he will have to cede to, he's got too many sons. Okay, so his duchy will break up eventually into Gwynedd and Poise. But by then I will probably be old and dead and conquered. But we can't wait that long. So the chance of me getting any of this is out of the question. What we've got here is a lot of small little states, okay, that we can profit off. We can predate on these. We could look overseas. Leinster is an option. Leinster is a 4-section demesne. I don't know what the nomenclature is, but it's got 4 parts to it. That is a nice little capital if you want to set yourself up there. Far better than this one, which is a 2. Okay, so that could be an option. And if we go back to our duchy menu, you only need 2 counties to make that dukedom. Okay, and we can see that by clicking the shield, and it says right down there at the bottom, look, bottom left, 2 de jure counties. I have 0, and it would cost me 200 money and 300. Okay, so that's an option. I could go over there, or I can try and take this one and then one of these. Okay, there's a reason I'm going to take this one, and I'll describe it to you in just a minute, but this is the state of play. What we're going to do once we've got Deheubarth is we are going to hope that something bad has happened to Gwynedd. Either it's gone into partition, or it's overstretched itself, or has been weakened in some way. And we're going to try and form the Kingdom of Wales. Okay, we need all of this sort of orangey area to create that kingdom. What we might not be strong enough to take on Gwynedd at this point, but I'll show you some techniques that we can do to make ourselves stronger so that we can take on that battle, because ultimately that's where we want to be. Let's get Wales, and then we'll plot a course to take some places of England, or maybe have a little bit of Ireland, or even take a pop at Brittany down here. Of course, West Francia might have other ideas and might already have taken that. Other options include Frisia over here to try and take a little bit of this. But we just have to see what has happened by then. And eventually, we will form Britannia. Okay, that's going to be in a few hours' time. So, let's go back to our realm. We have just asked our bishop to start fabricating a claim on this. That will develop power over time, and eventually we will forge a claim on that. It is a nice 3-section state. Alright, so that's what we're going for, and then we'll form that dukedom. What next? Do we need to worry about faith? No, we don't need to worry about anything else on there. That's fine. Go back to our council. So that's what you're going to do. What are you going to do? Collecting taxes very well. However, I would never, ever want to collect tax when we can increase development in a county. No, that's a bit much, isn't it? I will collect tax. What I want to do is I want to establish a capital somewhere, and then I will increase development in that county. I don't think increasing development in the county is going to really help when I'm in a small 2-state county, which I don't want as my capital later on. But let's say if we manage to take London early doors, London is a place where we will be able to really increase the development and really, push on. We would never want a better place than London. We might take Ile-de-France later on, but by then London will have you'll have made it such a powerhouse that you won't want to take anywhere else. Leinster has a little bit of possibility, so does Dublin. Dublin's a 5-state county, so where was I? Yeah, so we will leave on collect taxes for now, because I don't think increasing the development of Kirgistan is going to help us. Chancellor, we have no domestic affairs at the moment. We have no vassals apart from mayors, so we'll leave that on foreign affairs. That's going to make all the people around us like us that bit more. Incidental, really, absolutely incidental. What was development? Okay, so if you're a beginner, development is basically your level of tech. We'll come on to that in just a bit. Our Marshal, what are you going to do? We are going to organise levies. Okay, it's already doing that. The Marshal is one of the best characters as well, and we'll come on to why when we actually take somewhere, because increasing county control is so important. You've got to have controlling your counties. The other one is train commanders. Remember that? If you were low on knights, put them on train commanders, and he will find knights for you, which you can then take to battle. Okay, next one, spy master. Disrupt schemes, support schemes, find secrets. We're in the business at the moment of disrupting schemes, and that's what we want to keep that as, because we haven't got any schemes that we're running. Okay, we're not going to be touching on intrigue too much, because it's not a feature I want to work on. If any schemes are happening against us, we want this guy to break that up. Finding secrets can be good. So if we're short of money, and making money in the game is well, as a feudal person, as a feudal lord, money is the main currency. If you're a tribal lord, it's prestige. You want to keep your prestige high. But money is absolutely king as a feudal lord, because it powers your men-at-arms, it powers your buildings, and it proliferates everything. But finding secrets is a way that you can establish those hooks, and through some of the education menus we'll see later, you can use those hooks for bribes, and bribing is such a good way of getting some easy cash. You can stay disrupting schemes. That's them. We just touched on it. Let's have a quick look at education. So we go into the lifestyle menu. Do we need to just have a quick mention of any of these to start with? No, a bit too high level. Let's just go lifestyle. Whenever you start a brand new campaign, you absolutely must choose a lifestyle right before you unclick pause. So all of this stuff we're covering now, do that before you unpause the game. Otherwise it's time lost when you could be accumulating wealth, knowledge, interest, all that stuff. Okay, so the most used ones. Diplomacy is not that. I think I've used it a few times. Yeah, it's just not what you want to do early game if you're a count. If you're a count early game, you want to go martial or you want to go stewardship. Because we've got 4-star education in learning, we're going to get huge bonuses to learning. Okay, it might be worth just exploring that, but I'll show you why you want to pick martial. I'll show you why stewardship could be an option for you. Okay, so let's have a quick look. The one you want to go with when you're... Because the first part of our game is just ripping apart small territories, taking them on for ourselves. You want to have authority focus, okay? Having +3 in martial is all well and good, but it's the +1 in martial here is all right. Dread gain, not interested in, is to control growth. Having a passive control increase in an area means that it will become a steady source of income for you much sooner. Chivalry focus, barely use it, but you know, it could be good. Like with the new DLC, which focuses on prowess as a mechanic, with some of the dueling options, you know, maybe. But my prowess is so low, even +3 to it. You know, a good prowess would be anything above 15. You know, upping my prowess to 6 is just, it's just pointless. Authority focus is probably where we'll go, but we won't select it just yet. Not just yet, because I want to talk about stewardship. This one, so if we think about wealth focus, we know we're generating 1.8 gold a turn. If I select that right now, that would get me up to 1.9. Pointless, absolutely pointless. Domain focus is the only one I would really consider, because a +3 to stewardship means that your domain can often increase by 1. Like it might just push you over the threshold where you might be able to have up to 5 domains instead of 4, and with that 5th domain you're getting an extra income which is probably more than that 10%. Alright, so that's why you'd probably pick domain focus. Intrigue, yeah, it's like diplomacy. I barely use it. It's not crucial to the game, but some of these modifiers can be interesting, like the temptation focus. If you're particularly old and you need to smash an heir out quickly and you've got a young wife, get that going. Yeah, because your chances of having that kid and that vital heir at the right time, yeah, it makes sense. If you know, I mean, it's a completely different play style really, and one done through murdering the right people at the right time, bribing the right people. Yeah, it's fun, but it's not how I play it really. Learning is a third choice option, and something I will often have a look at. There's, in fact, all 3 of these are quite good for different reasons. The medicine focus is good. If you are beyond the age of 40 and you are about to, you know, and you think within the next 20 years, I reckon I might just ferment this kingdom. Like I've got 3 duchies, I just need that bit of extra time. Take the medicine focus, because that health boost, instead of rolling the dice at 60, you'll be more like rolling the dice at 63, 64. Okay, so instead of dying around 60 to 65, you might be dying around 62 to 67. You know, in all likelihood. So that small boost to health is so important. As well as that medicine focus, we can also then choose later the whole of body, where this has got abilities such as healthy and whole of body, which give you big health bonuses. So you might find yourself living into your 80s or even 90s if you choose this whole of body route. Okay, not always what you want to do. My boy is 40 and he's already gone down the scholarship route. So he already has what I would probably be getting. Like I usually go for the scholar route, and that's what I would normally be doing, which gives you bonus to your tech. We're just not going to focus on that because we're a small county. We're not really going to develop much in the next few years, so a bit pointless, but whatever. That's how the game's gone. And theologian, right? This is very situational, but I do use it. If we are a tribe, we're not going to use it in this playthrough, but if we're a tribe and we are looking to create a new religion, or we're looking to organise our faith, which is absolutely key if you want to become a feudal society. So going from tribal to feudal, you put it in theology focus, you put it in the theologian sort of tranche, and you get all of these, especially profit, because profit halves the religion conversion cost. So instead of needing sort of 4,000 piety, you need around 2,000. And if you find yourself getting 3,000, then you can choose some of the wacky and cool bonuses for your religion that really sets the game off. So there will come a time when you are a tribal ruler where you'll be like, yeah, this is the king. I've just given birth to that king that is going to be doing this. And you'll set them up for theology early. So it's planning ahead. For now, we're definitely going to go with authority focus because we're going to be taking some places. We're going to select that, we don't care. And the first thing we'll be working towards will be Bellum Justum. Okay, and the key for that is, we just serve you this. Casus Belli cost minus 50. So instead of costing around 150 prestige to take somewhere, it'll cost around 75, which means that we can declare more wars faster. The one we'll go for after that is Serve the Crown. Natural dread increase of 15, never bad, not bad at all, but it's that passive control growth which brings those new counties under your command even quicker. Okay, because counties with low control, you don't get an income from, they don't raise soldiers. So you want to be building that county control up towards 100 ASAP, so that county is not only in your territory, but productive for you. Okay, and then after that, I'll probably go strict organisation, which is, look, another 20%. So, it's our base level plus 0.6 plus an additional 20. And then they're the ones which really start off your warmongering and progression in that way. So anyway, we picked that. We're going to start accumulating experience in that one. Because of our education, we're not going to get any bonuses. If we'd have picked learning, we'd have gained 40%. And look, if I was in a different situation, I'd have definitely have gone for that, because 40% is hard to turn down in terms of an experience bonus. The final thing before we click on pause is to have a quick look at the hints. Okay, so these are suggestions. Fabricate claim. We're doing that. Right, we're already all over that. You can declare war on Jarl Ivor. Yeah, I'm going to do that. That would be absolutely insane. And we've got too few knights. We've got 4 knights and we've got a maximum of 5. Irrelevant. So none of these are particularly bad. Let's just see how bad a decision this is. Right. So as a new player, you'd be thinking, oh, it's a suggestion. Well, it's suggesting I could declare war on Jarl Ivor. Let's have a quick look. Right, here is the war screen. Let's have a little play here. So there's my little blue bar representing how much soldiers I have to theirs. Their military strength is vastly superior to ours. Okay, I've got 731 soldiers, fuck all money, and he's a mighty rich duke with 7,000 soldiers. Okay, do I declare any of these? I mean, honestly, it's not really a suggestion. Okay, before we unpause, we've got everything set up that we would want to have a look at. We've got a wife on the way, we've got our learning sorted out, we've decided what our courtiers are going to do in terms of what we're going to do. We've formed a strategy, like what are we going to take and when. We've looked at that. What are we going to take? As soon as we've done this one, we're going to start looking at these. The only other thing is to talk about how this map generally plays out. Okay, so through playthroughs, you will understand that everybody has different ambitions, but certain things tend to happen more. Hold on, we need it on the ruler map rather than the dukedoms. Okay, so what do I know usually happens? Well, in general terms, West Francia will usually take Italy. That's just whether that's through a succession or through war, that's what happens. Lotharingia never lasts long. East Francia, that permits a bit longer. That usually sticks around quite well. Down here, the Umayyad, they take out Asturias. Navarra seems to stick around a bit longer for some reason, despite it being smaller. Brittany generally does all right where it is. This guy here, Hastine of Montague, will be a pain at some point. Only a little county, but he starts off with a gift of 4,000 extra soldiers. Leon, right for the picking. But in terms of our general British Isles, almost always these things happen. Alba becomes really strong. It is the only king on the British Isles, and as a king, it is not subject to the partition laws. For example, the Duke of Jorvik here, what's his name? I think is it Hvitserk? No, it's Halfdan Whiteshirt. He will end up absolutely storming this area here. He'll take that. He might even come down here and he'll take this. I've seen him where he's taken all of this. Okay, but because he's a duke and he's not managed to become the king of England, then when he dies, and die he will, he's 39, similar age to me, all of that splits back up. And then it's really easy picking, because by then hopefully we'll be a big Wales and we'll be able to start pillaging that. Only a few times have I seen Fitzurk actually prevail and become the King of England. But normally, very powerful and an immense danger to a county like me in the early stages. He will take a lot of area. You just got to hope that he dies and it all splits up. Okay, Alba will be there to profit. The similar is true of Ivar, immensely powerful. We were just looking at him. He will take this. He will probably take a bit more of Ireland. He might even take a bit of Alba. But when he dies, and I think he's already fairly old, yeah, getting on a bit, it all splits back up again. So you just need to keep that and that at arm's length, and don't go looking for trouble in those areas. Don't go taking anything that they might take as well or want. Okay, so at the moment we're quite far away from them, so they shouldn't really be looking at us. But if we start taking bits of Mercia, we start taking bits of Gwynedd too early, we might alert them. Down here, Wessex and Mercia, generally, usually just stay roughly as they are. However, I have seen occasions where Mercia takes Wessex and Wessex takes Mercia. I have seen Wessex form the King of England quite often. Probably about 30% of the time it will, because if you take these two, then you basically got enough land to do that. Cornwall will usually form a great big alliance with West Francia, so we'll be able to call upon a huge volume of troops, and generally persists, even though it's only two areas, small duchy. Over in Ireland, anything can happen. It's just a melting pot. Any one of these little tribes can get immensely powerful. It's usually Meath. Meath does all right. Sometimes Desmond forms Munster and goes on a bit of a rampage, but they'll always be at odds with either, and they'll always be fighting some kind of battle. Now, what happens in Wales? We've already described what happens in Gwynedd and what usually can happen here. I'm going to try and build out this area. I'm going to go for Dyfed, and I'm going to go for Brycheiniog, and then these two I'll have a look and see what's gone on, because these two counties almost always get taken over by something from up here. Comes and invades. Sometimes they'll go after me, but usually they prefer going after Gwent, or they prefer going after whatever this place is called, Morganwig, something like that. So anyway, that is all you needed to know before we unpause and start actually playing the game. I'm going to make this the end of part one. That was quite a big video, but stay tuned, because we're going to be going and seeing how far we can take this Iron Man campaign, hopefully to the very end. Thank you.